want to say shalom to everybody. I know it's been a while since the last time I've put a video out. But since I've done a video the last time, I've met a lot of you who subscribe to the YouTube channel. I've met many of you all at Brother Yahoo's Pentecost, and some of you even came down to Madisonville, and we're very grateful that Yah has given me more friends, more brothers to be in communication with, more elders. Really good to be able to see the unity amongst Israel. The reason why I'm doing this video is I have been hearing talk amongst Israel. And what I have been hearing, I haven't seen any of these videos. I'm not one of those types that goes and watch all kind of videos that people put out. I don't do that. I learned a long time ago to be very careful about who I watch, very careful about who I listen to. And I would ask the same of you all. Be very, very careful who you listen to. But anyway, I've heard the talk about brothers who are making videos talking about the Gentiles are not going to make it into the kingdom. And that's very disturbing, because when I hear that, I don't read of any scriptures that says that Gentiles will not make it. Yes, there are scriptures that talks about how they will be destroyed, but there are Gentiles who are going to make it into the kingdom. Now, I know that there are several organizations out there that believe that that we are Gentiles. You know, when we lived amongst the Gentiles and did what the Gentiles did, that they believe that the scripture is talking about us being Gentiles. And when you look in the book of Maccabees, we'll see how they actually did turn and start doing what the Greeks did, and they were living like Gentiles. But to say that it's only us, that scares me, because I believe that begins to affect our salvation when we begin to make judgments on other people, saying that they are not going to make it. And I only say that in light of the scripture. So because we're going to be talking about the scripture, and we're going to be talking about this, very, very important to understand who the topic is about, who the reader is reading about. And so we're going to go through some of these scriptures. I'm going to try to keep this within 30 minutes. We've got a lot of scripture that we've got to read through, so I'm going to be very brief in my explanation. But to say that the Euro Gentiles are not going to make it into the kingdom, let's look and see what the scriptures really have to say. I know there's a lot of camps out there saying it now. You hear about them being out on the corner, preaching hate and not preaching love. You forget, when we were considered Gentiles, we thought we were going to be able to enter the kingdom. And now, since we know that we are Israel, now all of a sudden, nobody else is going to be able to make it into the kingdom. Now, how does that look as believers? When we weren't Israel, we thought we were going to make it into the kingdom. Some of us even connected ourselves with the Jewish people, like me, and was called a righteous Gentile, because I at one time believed that the Jewish people were the children of Yah. And now that I've learned that I've come into the truth, and now I realize that I am an Israelite, now I'm going to turn around and say that they can't make it in. If scripture said that, cool. But I don't think the scripture says that. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's go to Psalms 126. Psalms 126. And for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and start reading. I'm not going to pause and let everybody get there, but we got too many scripture to go through. Psalm 126. When Yahuwah turns back the captivity of Sion, or Zion, we shall be like dreamers. Then our mouths shall be filled with laughter, our tongues with singing. Then shall they say among the Gentiles, Yahuwah has done great deeds for them. And Yahuwah shall do great deeds for us. We shall be glad. Now, some may want to say, where it says Yahuwah has done great deeds for them, if you want to say that that is the Gentiles saying that Yah did great deeds for, or the Israelites saying that Yah did great deeds for them, the Gentiles, or if you even want to say that the Gentiles are saying that Yah has done great deeds for them, It doesn't matter if you transpose both of those, but we do know that it says, then shall they say amongst the Gentiles, talking about the Israelites, shall say amongst the, they're talking about the Gentiles, saying that Yah has done great deeds for them. Yah shall do great deeds for us. We shall be glad. Turn back our captivity, O Yahuwah, like the streams in the south. Those sowing in tears shall reap the songs of joy. He who goes on and weeps, bearing seed for sowing, shall indeed come in with rejoicing, bearing the sheaves. And the Gentiles are going to notice what Yah has done for us, what great deeds he has done for us. And they're saying to themselves, Yah is going to do great deeds for us as well. So the Gentiles see what's being done to the people of Yah, and they're saying, look, he's going to do great deeds for us. And for those of you who would say that it's reversed, okay, so the Israelites are saying that Yah has done great deeds for them. He's going to do great deeds for us. Both ways, no matter how you look at that scripture, it is the Gentiles that are noticing what Yah has done for us. And they're saying this is what Yah is going to do for them. It doesn't matter how you look at it. The Gentiles are giving praise as well because what Yah has done. I just had to put that in there because some people believe it's the Gentiles that are saying that about the Israelites, and some people believe it's the Israelites saying it about the Gentiles. Regardless, it doesn't matter. We know that the Gentiles are going to be looking and saying, oh, look at what they have done, what Yah has done for them. Well, he's going to do it for us too. So the Gentiles are looking for that light that Yah is going to be given. Let's go to another. Isaiah 11. Isaiah chapter 11. And we're going to look at verse 10. Isaiah chapter 11 and verse 10. And in that day there shall be a root of Yeshai standing as a banner to the people. Unto him the Gentiles shall seek, and his rest be esteemed. And it shall be in that day that Yahuwah sets his hand again a second time to recover the remnant of his people, who are left from Ashur and from Mitzrayim, from Pathros and from Cush, and from Elam and from Shinar and Hanath, and from the islands of the sea. And he shall raise a banner for the nations, and gather the outcasts of Israel, and assemble the dispersed of Yehudah from the four corners of the earth. Now, pay attention to verse 10. And in that day there shall be a root of Yeshai, standing as a banner to the people. Unto him the Gentiles shall seek, and his rest shall be esteemed. So the Gentiles are actually going to be seeking. The Gentiles are going to be seeking. Okay, if the Gentiles are seeking, these are people who are going to be looking for the truth. Is Yah really that cruel? Master Yah that cruel that he's going to shut them out and they have the heart to seek him? Let's keep going and finding out. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 2. Isaiah chapter 2, and we're going to look at verse 3. And many peoples shall come and say, come, let us go up to the mountain of Yahuwah, to the house of the Elohim of Jacob, and let him teach us his ways, and let us walk in his path. For out of Zion comes forth the Torah, and the words of Yahuwah from Yerushalayim. It says, and many peoples shall come and say, come, let us go up to the mountains of Israel. It doesn't say here that Israel alone. It says many peoples. That doesn't just mean one people, such as Israel. It says many peoples. Now, that's just not singling out one people. We have to let the word of Yah speak. And we can't make judgments for ourselves lest those judgments be turned around and placed on us. For us to tell a group of people, a race of people, that they cannot enter into the kingdom of Yah, That's arrogance. I wouldn't even make that statement upon people who were not Israel, who wanted to live and be like Israel, who wanted to connect themselves with Israel. Come on, you can't do that. You're not Yah. You cannot make that judgment upon the people. That's for Yah to do, and especially when he gives us scripture talking about the people. So, does Yah plan on punishing the Gentiles? Let's be fair. Yes, he does. As a matter of fact, let's go to Isaiah 34, verse 2. Isaiah 34 and verse 2. I'm going to be fair. Yes, he does talk about what he's going to do to the Gentiles. Okay, it says Isaiah 34, and we're going to start in verse 1. Come near, you Gentiles, to hear and listen, and you people, let the earth hear, and let all that is in it, the world and all its offspring, for the displeasure of Yahuwah is against all the Gentiles, and his wrath against all their divisions. He shall put them under the ban, and he shall give them over to the slaughter. And I believe that. I believe that all those Gentiles that are going to fight against Yah, that's who he's talking about. I don't believe he's talking to the Gentiles who humble themselves, connect and join themselves to Israel. And the laws of Israel become their laws. The ways and the culture of Israel begins to become their ways and their culture. They believe in the Messiah. So just because they're of a different skin color or from a different nation, they can't make it into the kingdom. And we see examples of people joining themselves to Israel all the time. Let's go to another one. We're going to be fair. Jeremiah 30, verse 11. Yirmiyahu 30, verse 11. And I'm fair to both sides. For I am with you, declares Yahuwah, to save you, though I make a complete end of all Gentiles, where I have scattered you. Yet I do not make a complete end of you, but I shall reprove you in judgment, by no means leave you unpunished. Okay, so we have another verse here saying that Yah is going to, he's going to put an end to them. But you have to ask yourself, is it to every single one? Is it to those Gentiles who turn their hearts towards the Master, obey his commandments, believe in the Mashiach that we call upon? Do you really believe that Yah is going to take those people and he's going to put them to death and slaughter them? Do we really believe that? I don't believe so. If they have the heart to join themselves with Israel, we're going to go over more scripture. How can you say that the Gentiles are not going to make it? Let's keep going. So I just gave two scripture there that does show that Yah's not going to play with them. And I believe that he's not going to play with them. But for you to make that judgment of everyone, those who believe in the Most High and call upon his name and the Mashiach, and connect themselves and join themselves to Israel. But for you to believe that and for you to say that, that's scary that you would do that before Yah. So let's keep going. Isaiah 49 and 6. Isaiah 49 and 6. And if you hear children in the background, I have a lot of children. And so you're probably going to hear them. Isaiah 49 and 6. All right. Okay. And he says, shall it be a small matter for you to be my servant, to raise up the tribes of Jacob, and to bring back the preserved ones of Israel? And I shall give you as a light to the Gentiles, to be my deliverance to the ends of the earth. So if Yah already has it in his mind that he's destroying every last single one of the Gentiles, what will be the purpose of us being a light to them? If they're not going to turn, if they have no hope in coming in to the kingdom, why be a light to them? That doesn't make sense. You try to be a light to someone in a dark place, and then hopefully they turn around to that light. But it doesn't make sense for Yah to give these verses and says he's going to send us to be a light to these people, and they have no hope of being saved. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Be very, very careful when you do that. Be very careful. Let's go to another one. Isaiah 61. Isaiah 61. This is going to be pretty long, and I apologize, and I'm limited on time, but I have to read it. The Spirit of the Master Yahuwah is upon me, because Yahuwah has anointed me to bring good news to the meek. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim and release to the captives, and the opening of the prisons to those who are bound, to proclaim the acceptable year of Yahuwah. And I believe that the Mashiach spoke this up in the temple, didn't he? And the day of vengeance of our Elohim, to comfort all who mourn, to appoint unto those who mourn in Zion, to give them embellishment for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, and the garment of praise for the spirit of the heavens. And they shall be called trees of righteousness, a planting of Yahuwah to be adorned. And they shall rebuild the old ruins, raise up the former wastes, and they shall restore the ruined cities, the wastes of many generations. And strangers shall stand and feed your flocks, and the sons of the foreigners be your plowmen and your vine dressers. But you shall be called priests of Yahuwah. Servants of Elohim shall be said of you. You shall consume the strength of the Gentiles and boast in their esteem. Instead of your shame and reproach, they rejoice a second time in the portion. Therefore, they take possession a second time in their land. Everlasting joy is theirs. For I, Yahuwah, love right ruling. I hate robbery for burnt offering, and I shall give their reward in truth and make an everlasting covenant with them. And their seed shall be known amongst the Gentiles, and their offspring in the midst of the peoples. All who see them shall acknowledge them, that they are the seed of Yahuwah has blessed. I greatly rejoice in Yahuwah. My being exalts in my Elohim, for he has put garments of deliverance on me. He has covered me with the robe of righteousness, as a bridegroom decks himself with ornaments, and a bride adorns himself with jewels. For as the earth brings forth its buds, as the garden causes the seed to shoot up, so Master Yah causes righteousness and praise to shoot up before the nations. So we see in verse 5, and strangers shall stand and feed your flocks, and the sons of the foreigners be your plowmen and your vine dressers. Sounds like Yah's going to have them serving. Now, if he makes complete end of them, how are they going to serve? Let's go to Jeremiah 16 and verse 19. Jeremiah 16 and 19. Don't mean to rush through here, but we have a whole lot to read through. Jeremiah 16 and 19. Now listen to this. O Yahuwah, my strength and my stronghold and my refuge. In the day of distress, the Gentiles shall come to you from the ends of the earth and say, our fathers have inherited only falsehood, futility, and there is no value in them. Would a man make mighty ones for himself, which are not mighty ones? Therefore, see, I am causing them to know, this time I cause them to know my hand and my might, and they shall know that my name is Yahuwah. Okay, so we have here talking about the Gentiles. He says that they're going to say that their fathers have inherited only falsehood, futility, and there is no value in them. Now, I know that some of you will say, well, but he's talking to the Gentile. Well, he's talking to those people who used to be Israel but live like Gentiles now and realize that their forefathers have inherited mighty ones. Yeah, but the Gentiles have inherited false mighty ones also, just like we have. And it says the Gentiles. It doesn't say former Israelites now known as Gentiles. It says the Gentiles, those who are going to be plowmen, those who are going to be servants is exactly what he says. We can't take the scripture and twist it to our own doctrine and make it fit what we say. All right. Do you know that many Gentiles are going to be joined to Yah? Isaiah 14:1. Isaiah chapter 14:1. Because Yahuwah has compassion on Jacob and shall again choose Israel and give them rest in their own land, and the strangers shall join them, and they shall cling to the house of Jacob. This is prophetic. For those of you who have lines in your scripture, my scripture has lines to even show the prophecy. Okay, right there, the first verse right there, there is a line showing that it is prophetic. It is a prophetic fulfillment. So, and strangers shall join themselves, and they shall cling to the house of Jacob. That means people who are not Jacob, people who are not Israel, are going to cling to them, grab the tassels. How do you go and say that the Gentiles or the strangers or the nations are not going to make it? How do you read a scripture like that and twist it and say something opposite of what that scripture is actually saying? I have fear. When we stand before Yah, we place our own judgment on the Gentiles. You cannot do that. Once he's made a statement about them, you can't go back and say, well, they ain't going to make it in. Then you go against the word of Yah. Let's keep going. Okay, let's go to Isaiah 56. Isaiah 56. Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel all talks about the Gentiles. So how can we do any different? Isaiah 56, 6 through 8. And I'll be there shortly for those of you who are already there. Isaiah 56, 6 through 8. And read before that also, but for sake of time. Also the sons of the foreigner who join themselves to Yah to serve him and to love the name of Yahuwah, to be his servants, all who guard the Sabbath and not profane it and hold fast to my covenant. Them I shall bring to my set apart mountain and let them rejoice in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and their slaughterings are accepted on my altar. For my house is called the house of prayer for all people. Did it say for Israel only? It says for all people. Let's keep going. Isaiah chapter 60 and verse 3. Isaiah 60, verse 3. Isaiah 60, verse 3. And the Gentiles shall come to your light, and sovereigns to the brightness of your rising. Okay? And the Gentiles shall come to your light, and sovereigns to your brightness of your rising. This is talking about Israel. And they're going to come to the light of Israel that Yah has given them, the light of Yah. The Gentiles are going to come. So how can you say that the Gentiles are not going to make it when Yah is going to draw them with the light? You can't do that. You're passing judgment that I don't think you can fulfill. Ezekiel 47. Let's go to Ezekiel real quick. I have a little bit of time left. I'm sorry I'm rushing, but we got to clear this thing up about the Gentiles, y'all. Be very careful, again, who you are listening to. Make sure that they are being led by the word and also by the Spirit. If they come speaking to you with something other that has been written, my suggestion to you would be to leave them alone and back away. Ezekiel 47 and verse 22 through 23. And it shall be that you divide it by lots as an inheritance for yourselves and for the strangers who sojourn in your midst and who bear children among you. And they shall be to you as native born amongst the children of Israel. Now, if they have to be as native born, then that means that they ordinarily are not native born, but we've got to treat them like they are native born children of Israel. With you, they have an inheritance in the midst of the tribes of Israel. So why would he say that the Gentiles are going to have an inheritance in the midst of Israel if they are not going to have it? John chapter 10, verse 16 talks about sheep of a different fold. There's just so many here. Romans chapter 11. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 8 through 13 and verse 19 talks about they are of the commonwealth of Israel. Look, you've got scriptures in the Older Testament and the Newer Testament, Acts chapter 15, verse 14 through 17. You have all these scriptures, which I'm not able to go over for sake of time, but we have to make sure that we are listening to the scripture, to the Ruach, not to man. Do not listen to anyone who speaks anything opposite of what the scripture, the set apart text, says. If they do speak something other than the truth, turn them off. Get your teaching from the word. Turn me off. If you hear me say something wrong, turn me off. But you got to be wise with who you're listening to. All of these debates that are going on, that they're televising, these debates that they're putting. Why are we debating other people? Why are we debating Christians? Why are we debating Muslims? Why are we debating Egyptologists? Why? What's the purpose in that other than trying to make a little extra money? That's what I'm hearing. A lot of this stuff is about money. So I hope that this has been an inspiration. I hope that you get the understanding that the Gentiles are going to be able to make it in, but there are requirements upon them. They have to come to the light of Yah. They have to connect themselves with Israel. And most importantly, they have to believe in the Messiah. It's that simple. His word says it. So I say shalom to you. I hope this has edified you. I hope this has taken away any questions that you have wanting to know if the Gentiles are going to make it into the kingdom, because apparently they are. They're going to live amongst us, and we have to treat them just like us. Just like when they came out of Egypt, the strangers was treated just like us, like native born. Gentiles at the end are going to be treated like native born as well. So I say shalom, shalom to you. I hope this has been good. If you have any questions, you know, you can email me at yoshia8@gmail.com. Be glad to return your message. I'll also give you my phone call. We can chat on the phone about it as well. But I have been around camps who have tried to sit and study it with me about the Gentiles not making it in, and I had to cut them off. I'm not going to be around people who believe contrary to what Yah says. Not going to believe it. Not going to do it. So you've got a decision that you've got to make as well. And I say shalom, shalom.